Hello everyone, this is Lunmie and welcome back to another belated commentary on Final Fantasy XIV A Realm Reborn, which I played back in 2019. So if you haven't seen my previous video, I played A Realm Reborn back in 2019, and I had a couple of streams, maybe a grand total of 5, including like the very end. I had a couple recordings with no voiceover, and I just thought it'd be fun to recount the memories. I don't know. You let me know if this type of video is interesting or not. So, at this point, this is the first time you get to travel to the other city-states. I started in Gridania, now I'm gonna go to, I think I'm going to Limsa first. This is pretty cool the first time I watched this, going on an airship. Now it's just teleport everywhere. Oh, they're so cute, they're waving at me. It definitely is a very nice feeling. In the very beginning. The first time you ever play this, like, this is a feeling that you can't really get again after you play it once. Sometimes you ever play a game, it's like, yeah, it's fun, but this is the type of thing where a first time experience that cannot be replicated. It's a very small thing now, in the grand scheme of things, after playing so many expansions. Oh wow, look at me going on an airship. But still, at the time, this is pretty exciting, I think. Oh right, meanwhile in Castrum Occident. I don't know why it's funny to me that it's like a meme to me now. The whole meanwhile in whatever, usually the Empire. I remember the first time I saw this and I was like, why, this feels like Star Wars. I don't know why I thought that. Something about the technology and the way the armor looks and the masks, I guess. I'm not sure. Also, I'm recording this in the middle of the day, so there might be the noise of traffic in the background. I'm sorry about that. 15 years. This is actually really cool lore, I think, that I honestly kind of like forgot, or it just did not settle in my brain at the time. But now that I've played much more of the game, it is pretty cool looking at this cutscene. 15 years, so that's 10 years for Calamity. It's MIDI! I said I was gonna look up Midgardsormr, that's how you pronounce it. I never know how to pronounce his name. I always call him Midgard for short, and I'm like, wait, that's not his full name. Anyway, what was I saying? So, I said I was gonna look up 1.0. I still haven't. I'm pretty sure this has to deal with 1.0, or this was a 1.0, right? Maybe? I don't know. Anyway, it's really cool, and I love that they brought that back in. Was it post Realm Reborn or Heaven's Word? I don't remember. Ah, guys, those monologues. I can't help but feel this part is kind of funny to me. It's like, oh, we killed the land. We need to kill it harder in order to save it. I mean, they're the ones that brought down a fucking meteor, being like, we need to save this land. Oh, whoops, that didn't work. I guess we need to save it harder. Like, what? I understand the drive of like, oh, primals are bad. Eorzea has a primal problem. We need to help them get rid of their primal problem. Like that part, sure. Everything else though, they're so obviously evil, it's kind of funny. Or they're portrayed to be so blatantly evil. Oh my god, I forgot Nero's voice in A Realm Reborn. Actually, I don't really remember his voice anyways, post A Realm Reborn. I haven't done that much content with him yet. See, this is another thing where, now that I've played more of the game, it's like, oh, I recognize those places. Alamigo. Whereas when I was playing it at the time, I was like, there's so many places and events happening and names, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Knowing what I know now in the later extensions, it is interesting that, you know, the Alamigan spy and an authored, or a soldier from authored. It's also interesting knowing what I know now, like the matching up the timeline, right? Because authors been, or wait, all have authored, or just Doma? Well, anyways, they've been taken over by the Empire for the past 25 years or so, right? At this point, I said I was gonna keep things within the expansion and try not to talk about quote unquote spoilers, but never mind. I might mention stuff of the Shadowbringers. Wait, Melvin? I always just call them Merlin or Limsa Lady. She's cool. The funny thing is, I think I remember as I was... The first time I was playing through this and meeting the various NPCs, I remember thinking to myself, man, so many of these characters have white or silver hair. I thought I was being clever. So they give us a bit of background and lore. City-states were their own thing. They made an alliance to fight back the Empire. They had the Grand Companies. Meteor Project. Look at us, Nil Van... Does he show up again later? I actually don't remember. Or did he die already at this point? They fought the... Was that 7th or 8th? I can't read from here. One of those legions. And then Guys leads, what, the 14th one or something? I've forgotten all these details. I've mentioned before, but like, A Realm Reborn does have pretty good in-depth lore and world building. It just... Somehow the way it was presented, it was just really hard to really sink into, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe I'm just impatient. That's possible too. The wolf has been sniffing around the stables. Did they explain this? I don't remember. And our next stop is Ul'dah. The nice thing about having footage of when I played this also is just taking in the weather. Sometimes I just happen to play I happen to be going through a dramatic cutscene or something, and it just happens to be like storming and there's thunder and lightning, and it's fun. Those little coincidences are fun.
A guest from Britannia. I thought I smelled leaf mold.
Okay, that's a little bit rude, but alright. Robon! It's interesting how much story Ul'dah gets throughout the expansions compared to Gridania and Limsa. I would love more story on the other two starter cities. They gave us the cutscene already of Carton through like the Echo, but then they talk about it again. Okay, so here Robon tells us about how they're taking territory from their neighbors. Wait a minute, hold on. So they were led by Solus. Emmet Solus, right? No one else has it. Zos Galvus, that's the names of the Imperial line, right? I think. I forget how their naming convention works. Right, because he founded the Empire, he was taking other nations. The Conquering Emperor is now an old man of foursquare winters. Wow, this is so much more interesting after you go through more of the game. Because when you first start playing this, it's just a bunch of names and scraps of information. Wasn't there a scene at the end of... Was it at the end of Realm Reborn or Heavensward where there's a funeral service or something? And then Varys becomes emperor? Is that... I totally forgot. I don't know. Maybe I recorded it also. I'll remember when I go back through it. So basically it's all about the city-states coming together again because they kind of had their own problems to deal with for 5 years. Now we're like reforming the alliance and stuff like that. Also, the woman next to him, the pink-haired woman, isn't that the one... big spoilers, I guess. Isn't she involved with the Crystal Braves plot later, right? Or was it a Crystal Braves? Maybe it was something else. But she definitely turns on Robon, doesn't she? That's interesting. Yeah, again, there's a lot of stuff that's just more interesting looking at now, after going through more story. And now we have a wild adventurer observing his opponent, the Cactuar. He imitates the Cactuar in staying frozen and moving at precise opportune moments. He takes his chances, observing the Cactuar around him. And then he strikes! But there is another Cactuar attacking him. What will the wild adventurer do? Alas, the power of the Cactuar is insufficient versus the might of the wild adventurer. A third Cactuar approaches. sizing up the adventure, wondering, should he fight him? They have an intense staring contest, and a small doggo comes between them, delaying an epic battle. This is my very first dungeon! My very first dungeon experience was kind of funny. Wait, what? It's Sastasha. I always pronounce it Satasha. Wow. Alright then, I've learned something. This is the very first dungeon. Honestly, there's not that much going on. I just stab things. I'm a lancer. Like level, what, 15? 16? I don't know. There's really not much going on. But the chat was kind of crazy. I'll just share a few screenshots of the chat as we go through this footage. There's only so much I can do at this point in the game, at this level of a dungeon, but yeah, I'm really glad that this was my first experience with very interesting party members. And you can see at this point, I don't think I learned that tab was a thing. Or whatever button you use to switch targets. I mean, this is clicking manually on the targets, or I was also clicking on like the other DPS to see what they were targeting. I was really struggling in the beginning. So a lot of it is just me walking around fumbling, pressing a button too late. Good times. You know, I really like I'm gonna keep calling Satasha, Jesus. But Satasha, definitely in that first half with all the coral and the colorful rocks. I don't freaking know. Anyways, it's pretty. It's not a bad looking place. I'm so glad that this was my first dungeon, because I'm pretty sure I was nervous about being, you know, the noob, the one that doesn't know how to do anything and is gonna fuck everything up. I mean, obviously in hindsight, it's pretty hard to fuck up Sastasha. But having such a funny chat, funny party for my first dungeon definitely eased my worries. So that was nice. I'm rereading this chat and it's just, I have no idea what's going on. Hey, first dungeon complete. So yeah, that was quite the experience. And I'm glad it happened. I'm glad I got to witness that. And back to main story quest. These semi-cutscenes. Not voiced cutscenes. I think this is really just introduction to the next dungeon, right? Yeah, something about the cultist. Tara something Deepcroft. I don't remember the name. I'm pretty sure I did not record this one. I don't think I record most of the dungeons until like way later. And then I continued the Lancer quest. Something more trials. Get to beat up my guild mates. I've done it. I've committed murder. I've killed a man. And now it is my trial. Pass judgment on me. Murder. Oh, no, never mind. It's just blah, 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 blah. More of focus being a hater. Something about everyone's a coward. He really is kind of just doing this out of spite. You know what? I kind of respect that. Wait, do we summon a thing? I totally forgot how this works. Oh, large piggy. This pig doesn't look that much bigger than the other ones. It's only slightly bigger. It would make interesting if they threw us like one that was like 5 times at least bigger than the other pigs. What happens in this again? Does he get his ass kicked and then I have to save him? Angry pig. Ah, yes, that's what happened. Hello, pig. Be nice. What is it? This is about like talking about what courage means, whatever. They have like differing opinions on what courage is or something. I mean, there's bravery and there's being stupid, right? Although some people would argue that bravery and stupidity are very similar. I am people. And then we're back to the main story quest, which is basically mentioning there's a lot of stuff to do which is a lot of work for adventurers, I think. But this leads to their inexperienced adventurers taking on jobs, and then people be dying. I also like how the cheery Gridania music is playing over this. They didn't bother to put any sad soundtrack over this. He's fucking dead. The hell's with this pathetic excuse of our party? I feel like this is very much reflective of perhaps reflective of the way some players feel sometimes. Never liked you. I only stuck around because you're a healer. There's not enough fucking healers in this game. Well, actually, tanks. We're mostly liking tanks, aren't we? Tanks is always an adventure in need. Well, clearly there's more of a need for a tank again because the one in their party died. Like unintentionally meta. Oh, also well, again, maybe a spoilers thing, but that girl, that healer, is related to Palace of the Dead story, right? I haven't finished Palace of the Dead yet, but I know she's like connected to it. Another pretty cool callback. I like when they do that. They do callbacks to things that happened earlier in the story, even if it's just like seemingly unimportant side content. And then once again, I go back and forth between Lancer Quest and main story. It just tells us the history of Lancer Guild, basically. And it's just more of like, oh, Gridanians are racist. Not the exact words, but they don't trust outsiders. Racist? Xenophobic? They're slightly different, aren't they? I suppose xenophobic might be more accurate. Oh yeah, here I'm very taken with my little adorable otter minion. Probably still one of my favorites. It's so cute. Tiny itty bitty little lantern. So yeah, I think this concludes this segment of commentary on A Realm Reborn. Anyway, again, let me know what you think of this type of video. There is a lot of potential footage to pull from. A lot of that I may or may not just delete it and not bother making into videos. I don't know. So just let me know if you want to see more of this, or I mean, I don't really mention this often, but yeah, honestly, leave a leave a like and comment if you're interested, because that really is a pretty good indication of the interest level in this type of thing. That is all for now. This has been Lunmie rambling about my past experience of playing A Realm Reborn Final Fantasy XIV. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I appreciate you all. I'll see you next time. Bye bye!